Hello and welcome to another chess game. In this video we are joining Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura in the final of the Magnus Carlsen tour. So the game I'm going to show you is from day 3. The first day was won by Hikaru Nakamura, but on the second day Carlsen managed to strike back, and also on the third day Carlsen started to take control because he won the first game. And now we are joining for game 3. This is the last white game of Nakamura, so he absolutely has to win to equalize. So let's dive straight into the game. Nakamura started with e4, e5, and we are heading to the Berlin defense that is a very common guest in this final. And after knight f6, Nakamura plays d3, which he already did in previous games against Carlsen in this final. And we go with bishop c5, takes, and knight d2. Castle, queen e2. These are all standard moves, and this is also repeating one of their earlier games. Rook e8, knight c4, knight d7, and here comes, the move that everybody plays these days, h4. So what's the idea behind h4? Well, probably, white would obviously like to push some h5 and create some attack against the king. And also at some point white will probably long castle, and the h4 just facilitates this attack. So let's see how the game goes. Carlsen plays a5, so that once white long castles, also his attack would be ready. Comes h5, b5, knight e3, and knight f8. Knight f8 is the usual maneuver to put the knight on e6. From e6 it controls f4 and d4, so e6 is usually the best square for this knight. Now Nakamura plays bishop d2, comes knight e6, and here Nakamura decided to play the move a4. So that's basically to let's see what happens on the queen side, and let's hope that Nakamura manages to fix some pawn structure on the queen side so that he could long castle. And here Carlsen was thinking for a long time and played a move that Nakamura just said after the game that frankly that's just the worst move on the board. Carlsen played b4. It would be very interesting to know actually what went through Carlsen's mind and how he settled on the move b4, because to us, to like mortal people, this b4 is just a horrible move. So it fixes the structure on the queen side so that white could actually long castle at some point. Also, black has the bishop, so fixing the structure makes no sense. Fixing the pawns on dark squared when the opponent has dark squared bishop, again, is a very bad idea, and it will actually come back and hunt Carlsen later. Also, it gives away the c4 square for the white knight. Sorry, the c4 square. That doesn't go to c4. Eh? So yeah, so the e3 knight to c4, and yeah, so this just looks like really truly a horrible move. And frankly, this is one of the worst moves that I've seen Carlsen played, like ever. So let's see what Nakamura does. So he plays b3, further fixing the structure, making sure the c4 square is going to belong to white forever. Now Carlsen played bishop a6. Nakamura plays g3, so that controls the f4 square. And here comes bishop takes e3 from Carlsen. And in this position there are two captures. Actually, three captures are possible, but taking with the pawn seems pretty bad, because then you that's just a bad move, right? You just leave you're in your own structure, you block your own bishop, so that's not an option. But there are actually two other ways to capture, with the bishop and with the queen. So if you want, you can stop the video here and figure out which move is the better one. Actually, this is super hard, and this is literally a computer argument that you may or may not find. Yeah, so the point is that you can actually take with the queen in this position, and the idea is that black is going to play f5, so that's the whole idea behind bishop takes e3, to play f5 and open up the position. White king is in the center, and to get some initiative with the opposite colored bishops. But the point with queen takes e3 is that after ef, knight d4, in this position white could long castle, and then white is doing super well. So this was the better recapture, because how the game went is it went with bishop e3, And now Carlsen again played f5, and here if you take, then there comes knight d4, and now the queen is attacked. So in this position previously we could long castle with white, now your queen is attacked, so you can't do that. And well, black has a serious initiative. So that's why to f5, actually white cannot take, but Nakamura had another good move in his pocket, which was rook h4. So this rook now controls the e4 pawn, so if black takes, white can take with the rook. And it also controls a bit on the f4 square. So the game actually continued with f4. Obviously white has no interest in taking this pawn and opening the position, but white just plays bishop d2. Now Carlsen comes with knight d4, knight takes, queen takes, and well, now the rook is attacked. Now it would be very nice to long castle with white, but well, that just runs into mate in one, so that's not a good idea. So in this position Nakamura played rook c1 to save his rook, and well, now we can see that even though at this point the black pieces are quite active, the long-term advantage is really to white. So the pawn structure of black is just horrible. This bishop is super constrained, and at some point, well, white will do something with his king and then open up the king side to the black king. So what Carlsen did here, Carlsen actually won a pawn. We took on g3. Here Nakamura took back. Actually, it was better to just play rook g4. But we will see that also the immediate recapture is not a bad idea, because after queen g1, queen f1, queen g3, queen f2, we exchange the queens, and well, now we can stop for a moment to see what white got for his pawn. So black is up a pawn, but white is up a pawn, but the black structure is still just truly horrible. So all these queenside pawns, everything is fixed on the dark square, and while the black king might be in danger in the long run, given that white will have a serious chance to attack, given the opposite colored bishops. So yeah, actually, even though black is up a pawn, this position is very uncomfortable for Carlsen. So Carlsen continued with rook e6. Now white starts to gather his army against the black king. Carlsen puts his bishop back. No, sorry, he didn't put his bishop back. First he put rook f8. Then came king e1, and now he puts the bishop back. Nakamura plays h6, g6. So now it's clear that these pawns are actually, again, just fixed. Well, this g6 is a passed pawn, but obviously the white bishop will be very able to control this. And in the long run, this h7 pawn can be weak. So now Naka played bishop g5, bishop g5, rook e8, rook h2, rook f3, rook f2. So here what's white idea is to just exchange the rooks, and then the white bishop can just eat up all the dark squared pawns. And surprisingly, Carlsen is actually partner in this plan. So rook f2, king f2, rook f8, king e3, and in this position Carlsen makes the final mistake. He plays king f7. And as I told you before, the endgame is just totally hopeless. So it's very strange why Carlsen allowed this. But after exchanging and bishop d8, it is clear that this pawn, this pawn, this pawn, this pawn, these are just all going to hang sooner or later, and while the white bishop is just gonna be the hero of the game, taking all the pawns of black. So the game went on with c5, bishop c7, king e7, one more pawn. So now actually all of a sudden white is up a pawn, king d7, bishop f6, bishop b7, king f4, and well, Carlsen played probably bishop c6, but already resigned with this move as well. And the problem is that, well, white king can at some point just go into the king side. The black king has to guard these pawns. So, well, the endgame is completely hopeless. So this was the way Nakamura managed to equalize the score. And then they played a very interesting game 4, which ended up being a draw. And in Blitz, Nakamura actually once again managed to outpower Carlsen, and in the Blitz portion he won with the white pieces. Actually won very fast in the first game, sort of a miniature, because Carlsen blundered very soon, and then Nakamura managed to hold with the black pieces, a very tough endgame. So again, now Nakamura is up in the scoreboard, so he's leading 2-1. The final is best of 4, so you can expect a lot more Carlsen Nakamura games happening, and also from my side, from analysis side. So see you soon.